And we're happy you're with us right here on FM 100.1. Thank you for those that stream us everywhere by going to thenoonshow.com and hitting that listen now button or downloading that Catfish 100.1 app so you can take us everywhere with you. And shout out to all our friends all across Tuscaloosa, West Alabama. Down on the coast, I just was having an email exchange with some friends at the University of South Alabama.
Oh, that's cool.
And him and President Bonner and all the good folks down there that are doing some cool stuff. We're hoping to go back and visit them soon.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of fun going on. And Miss Sunshine, we have got so many things going on. You're just pulling out.
I'm puzzled about where to start. We have extra time. I like having extra time. I just knew wish I knew we had extra time. Because look, Katie, for real, like we have so many now. I mean, look, like we've been having to like bank a few. Like, okay, that's not until later. We'll start with that one. That's a great place to start.
Let me correct something because I had been pushing something for last Saturday. And I was a week ahead of myself.
Ooh, Johnny Rocket.
You remember I was talking about the function down at the Government Plaza.
Yeah.
I was telling everybody to go last Saturday. No, I messed up. It's this Saturday, folks. It's the Literacy Council of West Alabama pulling together several other groups. Success by Six, the Hispanic Coalition, at 10 o'clock, I believe it is. And so you'll want to check that out. I want to correct myself, but if that's the only mistake I make, well, that's going to be
the only people who don't
be a miracle.
Look, the only people who don't make mistakes are the people who don't do anything. That's straight up.
That's right.
Right.
So check that out. We'll talk about it more this week and remind you of it.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about. And what about that? We've got the Repair Cafe coming up at the Tuscaloosa Public Library too.
Coming up,
that's on the 28th.
2 weeks away.
Yeah.
But it's on a Saturday also, the 28th, which is 2 weeks from this past Saturday, a week from this Saturday, all that good stuff. So, but from 12 to 3, the Tuscaloosa Public Library's Repair Cafe is back. What a great event. It's so much fun. You can get little things fixed. If you got a toaster's not working or hair dryer's not working.
I have a space heater that's not working, so I can carry that if I need to.
Anything you can
carry. And plan to do so.
Anything you carry up the steps because it's on the second floor.
They do have an elevator too.
But don't try to bring a refrigerator. That doesn't work. But now there'll be somebody there that might can help you fix it though.
Either they can fix it or teach you how
to fix it. And if you've got one of these little screaming goats, they can fix that.
What a random example, Johnny Rocket. Dun, dun, dun.
You got your screaming goat fixed.
It screams again.
Except it's missing an ear.
It's missing an ear. They're 3D printing an ear for my screaming goat.
But anyway, enough of this nonsense. No, we're just getting started with the nonsense. But anyway, broken house items, you can get it fixed or learn how to fix it free at the Tuscaloosa Public Library's Repair Cafe. Very, very popular event. And if you want more information, call 205-345-5820 and our friends out at the library.
Yeah, sure thing. So there's a fundraiser coming up for Table of Grace. It's called Empty Bowls. And again, it's a fundraiser for Table of Grace. That's going to be on Wednesday, March the 25th from 11 to 1. And that is at Grace Presbyterian Church. Let's see. Attendees are asked to make a $25 donation at the door to partake of a simple meal of soup, bread, and water while enjoying live entertainment. So you can also take home a handcrafted bowl. These bowls are going to be made by local artisans and University of Alabama ceramic students. That's pretty cool. So if you're in a hurry, don't you fret. You can still participate for an additional $5. Attendees can have their meal and bowl packaged to go. I like that. I like options. But just so you know, the entertainment is being provided by Jill Chambliss and Dan Vogt of the traditional Irish, English, Scottish trio, the Vulcan Egypts. So payment for empty bowls can be made at the door by cash, check, or through PayPal. And just so you know, tickets also will be sold at the event for a prize drawing. Again, that is on Wednesday.
Sounds like fun.
Right, March the 25th, 11 to 1, Grace Presbyterian Church Fellowship Hall. That's on Hargrove Road there.
That's a great cause. Table of Grace is really starting to be better known. They're a great organization. I'm glad they're doing it. Now, here's a fun one. and it's led and run by and managed by students at the university.
Yeah, shout out to Carson Jones.
Really proud of Carson and his friends at the university. They have an organization called KESEM. That's KESEM. KESEM. I'm not sure what that stands for, but it's a student-led organization at the University of Alabama. And what they're doing, they support children. That's my phone ringing. Hello there. Anyway, that reminds me. Let me fulfill my contractual obligation. Hello, darling.
How you doing?
Anyway,
I'm
back
turning
to
the ringer off of your phone.
please turn it off. But back to our good friends over at the university, our students, KESEM, and you are invited to help them because they support kids whose parents are going through cancer treatment or suffering with cancer. So
That's
it's
right.
a support for the kids. And what a lovely idea.
It's a gala. So what would you wear to it, Katie?
Oh,
A fundraising
full-on
gala.
ball gown.
Full-on ball
we need
gown.
more of that.
Oh yeah, she'd be dressed in the nines. I know that much.
We got plenty of time to get ready because it's 2 weeks away. It's Friday night, March the 27th. That's 2 weeks away. And it's called the Make the Magic Gala. And it's going to be over at the University of Alabama Student Center. And if you'd like to go and support this great cause, sounds like a lot of fun.
Mhm.
You can purchase your tickets or donate or get more information by going to their website. And that is donate.kesem, again, KESEM.kesem.org/Alabama MTM26. That stands for Make the Magic Gala. And donate.kesem.org/Alabama MTM26. So let's support our university kids that are doing such great work to help other kids who are going through some tough times.
It's a great organization.
Yeah.
We just found out about it ourselves.
They've been
honestly.
around a while, didn't know about them. Glad
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
know.
I want to let everybody know that the Bearfield College of Arts and Sciences Department of Theater and Dance have a presentation of Godspell coming up very soon. So that's going to be at the Marion Galloway Theater. So here are the dates: April 6th or the 11th. Those are going to be 7:30 in the evening presentations. Then on April 12th, you get a matinee, which works for me,
Mhm.
right? At 2 p.m. And again, this is going to be at the Marion Galloway Theater. And she'll give them a little bit of an idea. I guess we can tell them. So it's actually based on the gospel according to St. Matthew. Godspell combines John Michael Tepelak's imaginative writing with Stephen Schwartz's iconic music to weave together parables with impeccable comedic timing, heartfelt emotion, and unforgettable songs. A group of 10 people help Jesus bring different parables to life using vivid ways of storytelling, an eclectic blend of songs, and sharp humor. Godspell is a theatrical celebration of community that is bound to leave you inspired and uplifted. And I know you can get tickets by going to Bearfield College of Arts and Sciences, their website, Theater and Dance, and also there's that Purple Pass. I don't have that in my notes, but the purplepass.com.
Purplepass.com. And
It
by the way,
updates
I saw Godspell, drop a hint here, on Broadway many years ago.
You did?
Fabulous show. I mean, it's one of those all-time iconic kind of shows. If you think about the talent that comes out of the Bearfield College of Arts and Sciences and the theater and dance, oh my goodness. It's going to be a great performance. You don't want to miss
it. It is. So thanks to Astrilla for sending that information to us from Theater and Dance.
You know what question we ought to ask?
What should we ask?
You know, with the Smith family new Center for Performing Arts coming online, what's going to happen to the Galloway? I wonder. That'd be a good subject for the future.
I had not even thought about that question. Interesting.
You know, it's been there for a long time.
Have you heard any rumors, Katie?
Just wonder
That's
what's
beyond my pay grade.
You're pretty close to there, aren't you? Yeah.
We need to ask and have a little show on.
Anthropology and Marion Galloway,
Yeah,
right?
we're right next to each other.
Right next to each
Yeah,
other,
we'll have to
basically.
check that out. But another great event's coming up. You want to talk about?
No, let's talk about that first. Yeah.
Okay. Our good friends over at West Alabama Multicultural Alliance, Samara Smotty and her team, great group of folks doing a lot of good work. They've really grown the Multicultural Alliance, and they've got their annual Whamma Fest. Whamma's West Alabama Multicultural Alliance. Whamma Fest coming up again. This is I've forgotten what year this is. It's several years they've been doing this, but they're celebrating 250 years of Faces of America.
Yeah.
Now, why 250 years, folks? Because that's how old our country
That's
is going
right.
to be. That's right. So they're going to be bringing together all the various cultures of Tuscaloosa at the River Market on Sunday afternoon, April the 12th, 2 to 4 p.m. And you can experience Hispanic culture, German, Japanese, folks from Ghana will be there, Native American culture. Understand there's going to be some folks from Ukraine coming in, from Birmingham. Just in our African American culture, all the cultural groups of our community in one place at the same time, celebrating their music, their food. Okay, they're going to be celebrating their food.
How much are tickets, Johnny?
It's no tickets.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's even better.
And you can experience their food, their dance, their music, their stories, their art, just a little bit of everything.
And wear your stretchy pants.
Wear
They
your
got
stretchy
food.
pants, lots of food, and be willing to dance
That's, twist my arm.
because they're going to have some Native American dancers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. There might be a Japanese dancer too, which
Yeah.
I know one of them. I actually know one of them.
Well, that's right. But speaking of dancing,
It's a cool. This
it is a cool event.
Cool.
And we've had Japanese dancers here at this, and Indian dancers, and all kinds of talent. So Tuscaloosa's Got Talent is a charity fundraiser to help Alabama Cancer Care Angel Fund give hope and assistance to cancer patients in need. I've been involved with this initiative for several years, and been hosting since 2019. For the first time this year, Mr. Johnny Rocket Aycock will be on the Bama Theater stage for this particular
I'm
event
gonna tap dance.
to host. Are you tap
I'm gonna
dancing?
tap dance.
You working on it?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little
Okay.
soft shoe number.
Okay, just so you know, the show is on. You know, Soft Shoe. You
Yeah.
okay?
a little
Okay,
bit.
I'm squirrel. Anyway, so the show is on Saturday, April 4th, and the show time is at 4 p.m. and it's the historic Bama Theater, and grand prize is $1,000.
Yeah.
Second prize $500. Third prize $250. Now auditions are underway now. That's why we're starting to
Yeah.
talk about this. So you're going to want to call Dibia at 205-792-5476 to audition.
You know what's exciting about that?
What?
You better audition now because
They're
it's
filling
gotten-
up quickly.
It's gotten very competitive. It really. I think there's over 30
The show's
already.
had a lot of
A
interest.
lot of competition in this one,
Yes, but look,
but it's $1,000.
it's $1,000. I say go for it.
Absolutely. I
And
mean,
it-
if you've got any talent at all, I mean, sing, dance, stand on your head, juggle. I don't know. Just
Well, I say this every single time we talk about it. The only way I'm really actively a part of a talent show would be hosting it or something like that, working behind the scenes. But if it were me and I weren't actually working with the show, I would just go ahead and buy a ticket.
I'm gonna audition.
You are?
Yeah, I'm gonna sing. And
I
do
don't
soft
think you
shoe.
can. You can't audition and host.
Oh, okay. I'll host.
Like if you want to do a tap dance, I'm sure Dibby will let you do it though.
Well, that turns into a comedy act.
Well, anyway, if you would like to, if you're even on the fence, just call Divya with any questions you have to audition at 205-792-5476. And don't forget, all of the proceeds help Alabama Cancer Care Angel Fund.
And we'll do this one together, but I just want to give where you go to get information. I like saying this one. It's just kind of fun.
I know you do.
But the Noon Show has partnered up with Travel Bug Company.
Yeah, we have, haven't
We
we?
have, and I tell you what, folks, now is the time to sign up because this is going to sell out. I got a feeling. And but we have teamed up with the Virgin Cruise Line, Travel Bug, and the Noon Show is going international. We're going on a cruise next year,
Yeah.
leaving on July the 4th out of Barcelona, Spain, and we're going to the French Riviera.
You think those Europeans can handle our Southern style hoot nanny?
I don't
Probably
know.
not.
They better learn how to say y'all.
They're going to have to acclimate to us.
Y'all going to want to go with us. This is going to be an absolute ball, but you can get more information. This is the part I like the best. For more information, to sign up, simply go to hello at travelboatcompany.com.
Absolutely. You're
You
going
can't forget that one. Hello.
That's right. Okay, we run ourselves. We had extra time. We still run ourselves past the break.
Well,
Imagine that.
That's us.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. When we come back, we'll be joined in the Noon Show studio by Dr. Katie Chow to talk about the anthropology of chilies. So you've been listening to the Noon Show on FM 100.1. Don't go away. We will be here right back. Okay.
I would love to
Hey,
see
would you get that little rack off
I
the
would
table
love
for
to
me?
see
That
that.
you're just gonna
Would be fabulous.
like fix it. Do what now?
I used to do a little soft shoe. My dad was a soft shoe.
Really?
He could really soft shoe.
Well, you know, I tap now.
Great
Oh, I
coach.
just-
But I don't think I can do it anymore.
Yeah.
He taught me.
Did I teach you soft shoes? I didn't teach you soft shoes.
My dad did.
Oh, I don't think I
Yeah,
did.
as host, you
We
could do a
learn
little
soft
routine,
shoes.
like
I don't
like a
think I could
Oscars,
remember it.
right?
There's no way I could
There's
remember.
time to practice and to come up with something.
Yeah. You know, either way, it turns into a comedy act.
Finish the job.
It would be funny.
AM radio.
I feel like tap has always had a slight association also with comedy.
She can do it. I mean,
Line
Oh, I
association
know,
with
I
what
think
now?
Right there.
with comedy, right?
Oh, yeah.
she is
Gotta
great.
ham it up a little bit.
I've seen like Steve Martin have dancing with
Steve
Gregory
Martin.
Hines.
Steve Martin can do anything.
Let's start with number 5. This is our commercial.
Actually, at one time, I would have loved for us to learn a really beautiful dance, a waltz or a
Something elegant.
To open
rumba,
the-
and
Yeah.
Yeah,
open
you
the
can do a
show
show
dance.
opener, but I just kind of ran out of
But
time.
I just not.
There's just not enough
Her
time.
instructor tried to teach me, and it ended up being kind of funny.
Wow, I think you would do fabulous. You're very elegant.
I would sing. It would sound
We
great.
could do. Let's go ahead and do Hudson Hole right after. We'll do number 1. That's okay.
Number 1, and we're going to do number 5.
Number 5. We'll start off. Yeah.
Fairfield first, okay. Works for me.
Yeah, I gotta pack my swag. I wanted to pack my. I got some University of Alabama research swag when we toured the Precision Time Lab.
Yes, I saw the post.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I meant to wear it today.
Oh
I
no.
forgot mine. I had mine
We have to
out.
keep mine packed. We've got arts and sciences people every day except Friday. Would you toss that in the trash?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
You know, Fairfield's one of our sponsors.
Yeah, I saw the post about that. That's amazing.
And we're hoping College of Engineering's coming next.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
trying to spread our wings.
yeah. That's what Scott calls civic communication.
And we're getting ready to do our first pilot for another show.
Really? There's another one coming. Is there an announcement about it?
Not yet. We want to do the pilot to make sure we're ready.
Right.
If it goes well, then we're going to get a series of 12 shows. And if that works, then the next step would be to go every week, statewide.
So, scaling up.
Oh, I wanted to tell you real quick though. So a friend of mine who lives in Southern California, she grows her own stuff. She had made the spice with dried jalapeno peppers and serrano chilies. And I had gone for a visit and I loved it so much. She let me bring it home and I'm almost out. So I ordered some of the dried flakes and attempted to reproduce what she made. Of course, it's never the same.
No.
And I was using it for my deviled eggs.
Yeah.
Like it would be good, except for I'm comparing it to my friend Elaine's.
Well, I'm sure she would be flattered.
Welcome back to the Noon Show. I've got a horse in my throat.
I was gonna say, what happened?
I don't know what happened.
Please adjust your radios
Let me
accordingly.
work on it. I slept in the barn last last night. I'm a little hoarse. But anyway, I didn't say that, did I? But welcome back,
Oh, my
everybody, to the noon
goodness.
show right here on FM 100.1.
What you put in your Wheaties this
and
morning? by the
streaming
way?
everywhere. I've been up really a long time today.
I'll have what he's having.
I was working at 5 this morning
Wow.
and at the gym by 6, my dear.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't roll in until 8:30.
Well, I kind of like your schedule better. It was cold this morning. Oh my goodness. I wasn't ready for that. But Lisa,
Ooh, what?
people think about big careers, like doctors and attorneys and researchers and entrepreneurs. They don't always think about where that journey begins.
Well, Johnny, it begins with a foundation. And at the University of Alabama, that foundation is the Bearfield College of Arts and Sciences.
That's right. And this is where students learn how to think, not just memorize, think.
That's right. Whether it's chemistry, political science, psychology, mathematics, history, or the performing arts, students build critical thinking skills that follow them into every profession.
And let's be honest about it. In today's world, especially among employers,
Mhm.
adaptability matters.
Oh, that's right. That is exactly right. And that's exactly what Arts and Sciences delivers.
That's right. So if you want a launch pad that opens doors everywhere,
Start here. artsandsciences.ua.edu. Bearfield College of Arts and Sciences, where futures begin. Roll Tide and roll research.
That's right.
You
That's
got
right.
that right. You
We
got
love
that
those
right.
folks over
We
there.
sure
I tell
do.
you what,
But I wanted
they're
to.
the biggest college on campus.
They are the biggest college.
They
on
are
campus.
just amazing. They do. Did you know every student that goes to all 42,000 have to go through there at some point? Think about
We
it.
checked an awful lot of them into freshman level chemistry. I can tell you that through the years. So I saw that firsthand. Where'd you major in? All different kinds of majors. But I wanted to mention something. No,
They got it going on.
let me change the subject on you just a little bit. I want to ask
Okay.
you something. So
Sure.
when it comes to life's biggest moments, engagements, anniversaries, big celebrations, where do you go?
Oh, that's an easy one. You go see our friends at Hudson Pool Fine Jewelers in beautiful downtown T-Town. That's an easy one.
It is. Exactly. They've been helping families mark unforgettable moments for decades. Engagement rings, custom designs, watches, repairs, they do it all.
That's right. But they're not just selling jewelry down at Hudson Pool. They're educating you because they'll walk you through all the selections of diamonds, gemstones, settings, all that stuff. No pressure, just expertise.
Whether it's a surprise proposal or a just because gift, make it meaningful.
Oh, make it unforgettable.
Make it Hudson Pool.
That's right.
Visit them at 1111 Greensboro Avenue or hudsonpool.com for the same great service and tell them you heard about it on the Noon Show.
And you know
with
what I've
Lisa
got to
and
say
Johnny.
about that?
What's that?
Unforgettable.
Well, I've got to get over there really
That's
soon.
what they are.
I'm invited to a good friend's
They're family
birthday
owned.
party.
That's what I like about them.
Yeah, we're going to dinner, and it's going to be a big like hen party.
Well,
And
we're
so I'm
getting
going.
ready- we're getting ready to have some fun around here because Katie Chow's in the studio.
Oh heck yeah! So, in case you're just now joining us, we're joined in the Noon Show studio by Dr. Catherine Chow. Today, we're talking about something every single one of us interacts with every day: food. But from a perspective most of us never think about. Dr. Catherine Chow from the University of Alabama studies the archaeology of, I was ready for the next word, archaeology of plants, also known as archaeobotany. Is that correct? Okay, that was the one I thought I was on. That means she studies plant remains left behind at archaeological sites to understand how people lived, what they ate, and how humans shaped the landscapes around them. Her work even traces the history of chili peppers, one of the world's most beloved ingredients, helping scientists understand how and where peppers were domesticated and how they spread across the Americas and eventually around the world. So if you've ever wondered how archaeologists can learn about ancient diets, agriculture, and culture from something as small as a seed, you're about to find out. Welcome to the Noon Show studio, Katie.
Thank you so much, Lisa and Johnny. It's always a pleasure to be here and spend time with you all. So
We
y'all are
love it when
enjoying.
you come. We've been dying to have this conversation. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So When archaeologists uncover a site thousands of years old, how in the world do you even recognize a tiny plant seed in the dirt and realize it might tell a story about someone's dinner?
Well, that is an excellent question. Right? So you're getting at the heart of some of our methodologies. So when
Right.
people usually think about archaeology, they're thinking about shovels and picks and moving dirt.
Absolutely.
And we do that. We do that to kind of help us uncover some layers. But usually when you're trying to do something as fine-tuned as being able to remove sometimes microscopic remains from the archaeological record, you got to refine your methods a little bit more and do things like sample for bags of dirt, which you then process through a variety of ways. One way is to use water flotation, so it's actually quite low tech. You put the dirt into water. Basically, the density of water means that anything that is less dense is going to float to the top, anything more dense is going to sink to the bottom. And generally, most of our plant remains are what we call carbonized. So they've been exposed to fire in some way, which is one way in which they preserve. And then we're able to basically just scrape them off the top. Right? So just by using something as simple as water, that's one method for being able to take it out. And there's various other more refined laboratory methods as well for taking small microscopic remains like phytoliths, right, which are these like glass silica bodies, starch grains, right? So like when you eat starchy vegetables, like potatoes, for example, they leave behind lots and lots of trace evidence.
Oh.
Little round globular things. And yeah, with the power of high-powered microscopy, you can actually be able to like look at them under a scope and then also identify them. So there's pollen as well, which I'm sure you're familiar with. It's currently the season.
It's being washed away
Pollen,
today, thank
like
goodness.
dust
But yeah.
everywhere. So pollen is also something that leaves behind some trace evidence, and we can actually identify it as well. So we have a suite of tools available at our disposal. A lot of people don't think about this type of stuff when they think about archaeology, but in fact, it's like some of these small things forgotten that are really interesting to tell us some insights into how people used to live, what they used to eat, how they used to think about things, and then larger, broader social political issues, environmental issues. So all of that is possible through what's left behind.
That's really interesting. So I have never heard of anything being preserved by fire. Can you tell us just a little bit more about that?
So, I don't know how often you two leave things behind in the fridge or on the counter and see what happens naturally to food and other organic remains. Generally speaking, a lot of insects will get to them. Microbes like bacteria and fungi will start breaking things down.
Sure.
So for the most part, things aren't necessarily well disposed to being preserved. It's only in extraordinary circumstances where that's essentially interrupted. So for example, the carbonization process means like, for example, you're toasting seeds and then some of it falls out. Like if you've ever left anything in the oven for a long time, you may have seen things become kind of black and charred.
That's actually a really good example. Yeah, toasting seed. Yeah.
Exactly. Then it becomes pure carbon. And I don't know if you've ever tried to eat that kind of stuff. It's not very delicious. No. And so insects will avoid it. Other things will avoid it. And it tends to preserve a little bit better.
But if it's pure carbon, you can still study it and find some useful information.
Yeah.
That's the part I don't quite grasp.
So if it retains a lot of its morphology. Now, granted, this is
what's that word again?
Morphology.
Define it, please.
Okay. How it looks. If there's still aspects of it that are identifiable, then we as archaeobotanists who are specialists in this can be able to
looking for anything left behind, in essence, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I burned so much. It's probably a lot of my stuff. But anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about you're studying food, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. By doing what you do, could you actually put a grocery list together from ancient days so we would know what they are filling their cabinets with?
Yeah, absolutely. So
really?
Ingredient lists are really just the starting point. We like to call them taxa lists. Taxa is just a fancy way of basically saying like this is the list of identifiable things that is there, right? And we like to use scientific nomenclature because that's typically where we operate.
That's what y'all do, yeah.
Yeah, so we will come up with these lists of essentially what we've recovered from sites. Now, granted, one has to remember that usually we have to rely on what has actually been preserved.
Okay.
Being conscious of like how exactly those plant remains entered into the archaeological record, what kinds of environmental factors may mean that we're missing certain kinds of things. So, for example, we don't usually get a Pompeii-like situation where like everything is covered in volcanic ash and preserved as is.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we come back, the follow-up question to me would be logically, okay, if we can put together a grocery list of what the ancient folks did, then we can tell more about their culture.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of the idea?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Because food is part of culture.
Yes.
Okay, this is going to be a great conversation today, Miss Sunshine.
It is.
But we just slipping right past break time.
Yeah, and I was just kind of wondering, like, how something as small as a seed can unlock thousands of years of human history. Y'all going to want to stay with us to find out that as well. You've been listening to the Noon Show on FM 100.1. Don't go away. We will be here right back. I want to ask her about her chili pepper research too.
Oh yeah, I
specifically.
just was thinking.
So we don't want to get too far.
In the weeds.
I want to, yeah,
Well, I was reading some things that you
steer back.
did,
Oh, I got to get ready.
and I was reading a little bit more, and she gave me some stuff. One of them is food can really define a culture to a great
That's a
extent.
really good insight, Johnny. Right?
Absolutely.
So because I'm thinking, okay, what cultures have I been to that were so different?
Mhm.
I spent a lot of time in Japan,
Right.
and their culture is totally different when it comes to food. Now they've got some Americanized stuff.
Hey, look at number 4 and 5.
Japanese
You wanna ask
food.
one of those?
Defines who they are. I mean, if you're eating their food, you know where you are.
Right. Exactly.
I
The
just
whole
find that-
approach and philosophy to it, right? The sort of
Yeah.
purity of the ingredients, the minimalism as well, the savory notes, right? They're not a people that do a lot of heavy spices. I think in some ways that made it a little bit more palatable to like.
That's better. Right away.
And yeah, it's
It's not quite
every
as
culture
messy.
also
Still
has
kind of
flavor
messy.
profiles along with a list of ingredients. And then also just as someone who studies the history of it as well, like it changes throughout time, and that
Yeah.
says something about the culture, right?
Yeah.
What they adopt, what they reject, how they see themselves as different than other people.
But as I was kind of trying to get a little bit knowledgeable, I just kept that common thread kept floating through this tiny little mind of mine.
Yeah.
That food is actually it's an integral part of our culture.
It is.
I mean, I don't know if it's the without food,
Without it,
there our culture would
right.
suffer.
Yes, and you see this all the time. Nobody eats just because it's for the calories, right? Everybody has tastes, everybody has preferences, right?
Even the time
mhm.
Yeah.
Europeans eat later.
Yeah, and we spend very little time in eating, right? We're very convenience focused, and
Oh, yeah,
that's
that's
changed
a
over
good
the last
point.
few decades as well. And we spend very little time together at the table, right?
Yeah, there's not family time anymore.
No, and what does that mean for society, right? In terms of the lack of space, the lack of community, the lack of opportunity to understand others, and to be intentional about how we eat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
in many
so-
ways, like it's a microcosm, and you can study it at so many different scales.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So many
Interesting.
I
different
just keep
directions you
getting
can take the
blown away
conversation.
by all this subject matter.
You want to look at? Did you look at those questions though, Johnny?
I did. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I just don't want to run out of time before we start talking about her research.
Again.
Ask me what I watch
Thank
on
goodness.
television. She's
Oh,
getting a kick out of watching it.
He wants you to know what he's
What are you
asking.
watching?
I watch documentaries on quantum physics.
Really?
He does now.
You know what? It's a fascinating area.
After-
Now, last
we-
night, I'll have to come back to this. I've started watching them on mathematics,
Right.
which I don't understand because there's no beginning to mathematics.
Right. Yeah.
Mathematics has always been there.
Right. It's a
We're ready.
beautiful thing.
Or messages on the Catfish Tuscaloosa app.
Boy, now this conversation last night just blew my mind. Welcome back to the Noon Show right here on
Yeah,
FM
welcome back.
100.1, and We're having fun today.
Oh yeah, of course. Katie's here.
It's Monday, so we're having a good time. And
Yeah.
Katie Chow's in the studio, so we know we're going to have a great time. And we've been having a little conversation off the air. I hope we get it on the air because it's fascinating stuff.
Yes.
I tell you what, I just have to stop. You know, I've been introduced to an academic world I didn't know much about. And I'm just fascinated with it. I mean, it's just really cool. I was talking to some
It's
folks.
great, Johnny.
Actually, I was sharing this with University of South Alabama folks and saying, you know, there's so many stories to tell. And they're all
Yeah.
fascinating. I mean, they're
That's right.
fascinating.
That's right.
But hey,
What?
at the same time, I had a big moment at Bryant Bank the other day.
Oh, what happened?
Actually, it happens every time I walk in. Someone always says, as soon as I walk in the door, Johnny, what can we help you with today?
Well, I mean, that sounds pretty normal.
Yeah, but they actually listen. They listen to my answer.
Imagine that.
Yeah. I mean, they helped explain everything step by step. They tried to explain why I couldn't have a bag of cash.
Okay, Johnny Rocket. That's what good banking should be, you know, I guess.
Well, there is no pressure or confusion when you go to see our friends at Bryant Bank. They're just helpful people trying to do a professional job well.
And they make you feel comfortable while they do it.
Absolutely. I'm going to go back just to say hello.
Exactly. You can visit Bryant Bank in any one of their beautiful locations, North River, Northport, and beautiful downtown T-Town, or online at bryantbank.com.
That's right. Bryant Bank, remember, is an equal housing lender and a member of
FDIC.
So here we are talking with our friend Katie Chow.
Okay. What you want to ask Katie next?
Well, we were talking a little bit about can you put together a grocery list from an ancient civilization? And then I'm assuming that you take that and your colleagues, and then you can develop a little bit more about their culture and how it affects us today.
Absolutely. So the list is really just the beginning. A lot of what we do is to see, you know, how are these plants contextualized, right? What are they growing in their gardens? What are they eating in their houses? Are they clean people? Some cultures actually kept their floors very clean. Other ones were messy, and I actually like those a lot because they leave behind a lot of stuff, right? A lot of evidence for us to look at. We can go horizontally across space and see where different activities were taking place at a site. But we can also go down into various layers through time and then also see how that changes over time, right? When did certain kinds of plants come in? How did they change over time? So the process of domestication, which you hear a lot of people talking about today, like what was life like before during the times of the caveman, right? At some point, humans created agriculture, and that's led to the kinds of complex societies we have today. Prior to that, people would have all been involved in getting food. And nowadays, like, I don't do any of that. I just go to the grocery store and I pick up some packaged items. I go home and I cook it, and it's really easy. But actually, back in the day, a lot of your time would have been spent going out, gathering, and hunting. So this amazing thing called domestication happened where people began developing a relationship with plants that was different than before. They became more settled. They lived in places and didn't move. They began experimenting around with plants, crossbreeding them sometimes, seeing what worked out, what didn't. And through thousands of years of this type of engagement, genetically, these plants changed to the point where humans are now dependent on them, and plants, vice versa, are actually really dependent on the humans as well for propagation. So it's actually this kind of very beautiful mutualistic type of relationship that's evolved. And as a result, we have what we have in the grocery store today, because, you know, people have been doing this for many years.
So I wanted to steer the conversation towards a particular focus. So your research focuses on chili peppers, which millions of people love today. So do we know when humans first started saying, you know what this burning sensation needs? More peppers.
Well, you know, chili peppers are so fun to research because it's one of those really odd plants that just exemplifies how we humans are really strange sometimes.
I can't imagine the first person saying that, hey, this is a great idea, right?
It's a plant that is designed to hurt us, right? It has the self-defense mechanism.
Great
Right.
point.
Yeah.
Serious. Oh, I never thought about that. That's its self-defense mechanism.
Right.
The heat.
Yeah, it doesn't actually want mammals to eat it. Actually, it wants birds to eat it, and birds don't experience that effect. Birds are the main propagator, actually, of chili peppers. And also, they were the ones responsible for spreading it basically throughout what is today the Americas. So essentially, this plant developed this defense mechanism to prevent predators from coming in before the birds got to them, right? And so what does it do? It causes this kind of, like you mentioned, a burning sensation. What it does is the capsaicin binds to these TRPV1 receptors. And what happens is that your receptors, which actually are designed to be able to detect heat at over 106 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you actually,
The
touch something that's
capsaicin
burning,
is what's responsible for the heat.
yeah,
when it's,
yeah.
okay.
So like basically it binds there, and basically your body thinks, oh, I'm on fire, essentially, right? And what does it do? It releases adrenaline, endorphins. You feel kind of a high sometimes if it's really, really hot. Your nose starts running. There's vasodilation, so your veins kind of dilate. Your heart rate goes up. Your mucous membranes are irritated. And so those are the kinds of things we usually associate with hot peppers, right? To the point where people watch like clips of people suffering because it's really funny. So for some reason, yeah, this plant that, again, is a little bit odd in terms of like the fact that it causes this type of reaction in us is something
Yeah.
that people love. And like you mentioned, it's the third most used spice in the world today.
Right.
People across the world eat it on a daily basis. And yet at the same time, it's something that we really shouldn't be for some reason. I mean, it's a weird plant for us to
Strange.
kind of engage with from such an early time.
To your point, we really shouldn't be. Some of these peppers are so powerful, they're literally weaponized
Yes.
and used in law enforcement.
Oh, absolutely.
Hashtag, what kind of pepper is it they use in pepper spray? Do you know? Or off the top of your
Actually,
head?
that's a chemical. They basically
Is that-
isolate.
it's not based on pepper at all?
Well, it's the same compound, but it's not coming naturally from the
Same
pepper.
It's a
And they
capsaicin.
synthesized it, yeah. But I will say that we do have archaeological evidence of people using something similar. And so the Spanish, when they went to Peru and conquered the Inca, they actually reported that the Inca were burning large piles of chili pepper to create acrid smoke, which essentially was a similar effect, right? And caused like the Spaniards to have the kind of like pepper spray type of reaction.
Yeah.
So yes, we have had evidence of that. Not to that degree, but yes.
Super quickly, does capsaicin have any health benefits?
Yeah,
I thought I'd
there's
read that
reports
somewhere.
of, well, first of all, chili peppers are high in vitamin C. They're used medicinally as an analgesic. So, like icy hot, if you've ever used that kind of stuff, like
okay.
that involves capsaicin. There's reports of it being good for things like your stomach, oddly enough, even though it upsets people's stomachs.
That's interesting.
There's reports of it being useful for anti-cancer properties. And so, one of the motivations for breeding superhots, supposedly for some people, comes from that desire to also treat cancer in more natural ways. So yeah, we do know that there are a bunch of medicinal reasons alongside the flavor and the experiential aspect of it.
Okay, we are up against the break time again. I would like to know more about your actual focus on your research and all the things when we come back. You've been listening to The Noon Show on FM 100.1. Don't go away. We will be here right back. We both do this whole rabbit hole thing, so sorry. But you just have to keep coming back, right?
I'm happy to just keep going.
We love it when Katie Chow comes to the studio.
Yeah, I got so many questions,
Yeah.
but I've got one. Oh.
Well,
From the research that you and others do on this, it goes back to something you were talking about earlier. For example, what vegetables didn't exist?
Yeah.
Have we created?
Oh, yes, we have quite a bit. Actually, in addition to creating things, we've also heavily reduced the agrobiodiversity out there. So if you look at the supermarket, there's only a number of different kinds of tomatoes you can get, right? A small number of squashes. There's predictions right now that we're like hovering around like 90% loss of genetic material.
what?
Yes, because like we've now veered towards monoculture in terms of our model, right? To the point where like, oh, we're heavily reliant on one single variety of banana, the Cavendish. You can kind of bring it back to issues like the Irish potato famine. That was due to one variety being grown in
Nat's going to talk
Paradise.
about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
History of Irish
Yes,
immigration and all that
exactly.
goes.
That left us very vulnerable, right? So when people talk about the importance of food, it's also
There's less
security.
variety?
There's a lot less variety.
I would have guessed the other.
Yeah, because
there'd be more.
we've hyper-focused on commercially viable varieties.
For example, when I was farming, I farmed for about
Yeah.
20 years. I planted, I think it was 7 varieties of tomatoes every year. Peppers, probably the same number. There was at least 6 or 7 peppers. Cucumbers, I had 3 or 4 different varieties.
Right.
Everything from seedless to other kind. And I would have thought just the opposite, because there's a lot of variety to pick from.
Well,
There's
and
a variety
it's
of
people like
animals.
you that keep varieties alive, right? It depends on farmers who so part of it is strategy,
So it's
right?
just part of the mass production.
Yeah, because of our food system, the way our food system works now is essentially like where, yeah, it is very sad. But there are pockets where people are keeping things alive. Things like seed banks, indigenous groups as well. So yeah.
Welcome back to Fun Radio right here
Oh,
on
yeah.
FM 100.1. And I tell you what, Miss Sunshine, this is a fun show today.
Yes, and thanks again to Katie. She's spending part of her actual spring break with us.
You know, we met
No
Katie
way.
Chow originally talking about AI. Now we're talking about fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, her actual
And
work.
chili
life's work.
peppers. We're actually talking about real things that she's working on.
Yeah, her research.
Chili
But
peppers.
Johnny, I just wanted to mention something to you. So every game has a scoreboard.
Right. Otherwise, you don't know if you're winning or not.
A lot of companies don't actually have one.
Well, that's kind of where Ken DeWitt, our good friend Ken DeWitt, comes in.
That's right. He does help. So using EOS, he helps leadership teams install scorecards so they can see what's working and what's not.
That's right. It's called the Entrepreneurial Operating System, by the way. And so leaders stop reacting.
And start executing a clear plan.
That's right. They gain vision, accountability, and some real traction.
Ken has helped over 100 companies build healthier teams and stronger businesses.
That's right. And if you want your business running like a championship team,
Visit implementer.eosworldwide.com/Ken-DeWitt and schedule a free introductory.
yeah, you don't want to miss that opportunity.
Yeah.
He's the best. He is the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
We're having a lot of fun.
can I ask Katie the next question?
Do I have a choice?
No. I would like to know, Katie, what your actual research on chili peppers, what does it focus on? What was your inspiration for studying the archaeology of chili peppers? All the things. I want to know the nitty gritty.
I can kind of give you a quick origin
A quick one,
story.
yeah.
Well, I've always been fascinated by food. My parents were immigrants to this country, and so from the moment I remember, having memories, I was always so fascinated by the difference between what we were eating at home and what people were eating out there. Chili peppers weren't necessarily a part of my childhood growing up. Taiwanese food, which is where my parents are from, isn't necessarily the most spicy cuisine out there. But I remember always being very interested in that particular fruit and also why it was appearing in certain kinds of cuisines, right? In Sichuan cuisine, in Hunan cuisine in China, in Korean cuisine, in Indian cuisine. When I went to college in New York City, I remember being exposed to this plethora of culinary delights and just being so taken by the fact that you could experience so many different flavors, right? And
Right.
peppers being a big part of that. And so when I was in graduate school doing my PhD at the University of California in Berkeley, there was an opportunity to study chili peppers. There was an archaeologist at Vanderbilt, Tom Dillahay, who had thousands upon thousands of remains that he had collected from a site that dates back to 10,000 years.
Wow.
And he wanted to know what to do with them. He said, I don't really know what to do with this data. If you want to look at it, go ahead. I, was up for a side quest at that point. I remember being very excited to kind of volunteer. And the rest is history, essentially. So that's essentially how that started. And in terms of what I look at, I'm interested in some of those early engagements, right? When did we start messing around with chili peppers?
Right.
Where did we do it? How
Exactly.
did domestication happen across the Americas around roughly the same time? So chili peppers actually are made up of several species in terms of what's domesticated or considered domesticated. And these were independently domesticated in different parts of the Americas,
Okay.
from Central America to South America, the Highland Andes, to the Amazon rainforest, to Mexico. And again, why is it that people all across this giant geographic region were so taken by this plant? How did it begin to evolve or co-evolve with humans? What role did people play in the equation?
Yeah.
And what role did the plants? So that's essentially where this came from.
I told you about ordering the dried Serrano chilies, and my friend Elaine said, "Oh, good choice," because it was from Sonora. She said my
Yes.
grandmother was Sonoran. Kind of to your
Yes.
point. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Katie, we were kind of talking a little bit about this off the air, but can we take it to a little bit broader perspective for a second? Because we were talking about how food really defines our culture to a great extent. And in your studies, do you get into that kind of broad application, and what have you learned?
Absolutely. So there's a famous quote, tell me what you eat and I will tell you who you are.
Oh.
And I think in many ways, food is a reflection not only of our need to eat, but our desire to eat, right? Our desire to be ourselves, whatever that means for each individual. So for many cultures, we have our tastes cemented oftentimes in childhood, what you were fed, what you were used to being considered appropriate food, even the way that it's organized on your plate. These are all very cultural sort of patterns
Yes.
that emerge, right? And at some point, when you're encountering new things, there are certain things that cultures have decided is wonderful and will adopt into their cuisine. Some of them become indigenized, like the potato for the Irish, for example. There are many Irish people that think that potato comes from Ireland because it's so fundamentally important. It's the same thing with the chili pepper. There are some Koreans out there, Korean scholars, who have decided that chili peppers must come originally from Korea because they're that important, fundamental to their cuisine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we see this constantly in the anthropological literature. People gravitate towards certain kinds of things. Certain things have symbolic value as well. So like for some people, they're like, we're the people of the corn, right? Or we use it also to deride other cultures, like, oh, the French, they're frogs, right? Because they eat frogs. We have reports from ancient China, or not ancient China, maybe more in the sort of historic era where they're saying, oh, we think those Europeans are disgusting because they're eating this like mucus-like substance called cheese, right?
Oh.
And it's just absolutely offensive to our palate. So there are many sort of dividing lines when it comes to food. And so it's just so interesting to see this constant like display of different kinds of stories that in many ways conflict with one another, right? In one sense, food is traditional, it's conservative, we pass it down from generation to generation, but it's also at the same time innovative. It is constantly changing as new techniques come in, as new ingredients come in. And so it's just such a fascinating area to study if you're interested in just human culture,
Right.
And why it is that people eat the things that they do.
Yes, I can remember an international marketing professor saying that rice is sacred to the Chinese. And to your point, though, you're talking about how things change. I think within the age of information, culturally, we start to adopt a little bit more of each other's habits, maybe. But for example, I had a friend, a late professor friend, who said that her mother just embarrassed her, quote, to death. Because you were talking about how we think this is the normal food and the way you're supposed to eat it. Eating sushi. She said her mother ate sushi with a fork. And it really embarrassed her. So you can pick it up and eat it with your fingers. You can use chopsticks. You do not use a fork.
Right, which is, again, very culturally constrained to this particular time period. Forks actually are a rather recent innovation.
Yeah.
They didn't exist in the Middle Ages, right? People use bread or trenchers and knives as well. And so forks come from a later time period in Western Europe, but nowadays is almost synonymous with Western dining in general. And it's so interesting also the history of chopsticks, if you look into that as well. Like chopsticks weren't always a thing either. So as an anthropologist, I always find it so interesting to see where these faux pas happen, because it's a lack of sort of knowledge about a specific culture. It's also an opportunity to see when cultures collide as well. So
Right.
like one interesting thing I always like to get my students to think about is, like, for example, like, did you know that in a lot of Chinese restaurants, sometimes you're being offered 2 menus depending on whether you're from that culture or from a different culture?
Really?
Yeah, I remember that distinctly growing up. The one that was written in Chinese was completely different in terms of the kinds of dishes it was offering versus the one that was in English, right? Because there was an awareness of different
I
cultures.
had no awareness
and
of that
different
at
tastes.
all.
Right. And one
None.
interesting thing also was, like, are you being offered a fork or are you being offered chopsticks, right? So yeah, in many ways, like, it's not just the ingredients themselves, it's the setting, it's, you know, whether it's family style, whether it's individual portions, you know, whether or not there's a starchy base. So like you mentioned rice, for example.
Mhm.
For a lot of people from East Asia, you're not full until you eat rice. In fact, eating for Chinese people is 吃饭, which means to eat rice, right? That means eating in general.
Oh,
And that's how fundamental it is in terms of like the food culture.
yes. And just one quick comment. So I have a cousin who is half German, and she made a point of pointing this out when we were eating dinner. So you're saying that the
Mhm.
forks and knives, that's, you know, Western European, haven't been around that long. Well, she holds the fork generally in her left hand, and the knife in her right hand. You're not swapping back and forth. Most people are right-handed, right? And most Americans will go ahead and hold that fork in their right hand. It's just one subtle difference I never thought about, but it is more convenient when you're going to cut meat or cut whatever,
Yeah.
and don't have to swap the utensils back and forth.
Yeah, and I remember learning about that in home economics back in the day when they still taught home economics, about the American style of dining versus the European four-step method, or the American four-step method versus the European sort of just holding it in both hands. So
Exactly.
yeah, just talk about another dividing line.
Right.
Katie, it's always a delight to have you come visit us. We got to get you back because I've got about 100 more questions. Because you mentioned
Always a
something
pleasure.
about how some things have disappeared, but some new things have happened. And I'd love to know a little bit more about that at some point. Katie, thank you for coming to visit us. We're almost out of time, Sunshine.
Yes. So I wanted to mention that we have Dr. Nathan Lowen coming tomorrow. He's a professor in the Department of Religious Studies. He's going to talk to us about a little bit about the history of St. Patrick, and also the history of Irish immigration in this country, which does have to do with the potato famine in Ireland. And he suggested that that the population of Ireland never fully bounced back, not even today. But now we're really out of time. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Thank you again, Katie, for coming. Of course, we're going to have to get you back on the schedule. So I just want to remind everyone, don't forget to spay or neuter your furry friends and keep those tails wagging with up-to-date vaccinations. This is Lisa Jones signing off for the Noon Show. But before we go, I'd like to wish everyone a splendiferous rest of their day. See you on the radio tomorrow. I mean, we could have talked for 3 hours or 4 hours.
I love talking to you too.
Easily.
No, we got to get back here and then go back to this detour and that
there's
detour and that
so
detour.
much that you
Get all these notes.
And that's what I'm
I
finding
probably-
more and more. Every time someone comes on that's researching, doing studies,
Mm.